Hello, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome to the 6th episode of the Caleb Knits podcast. My name is Caleb, and I'm so excited that you're joining us today.
And I'm Bonnie. I'm the guest host, and I happen to be Mom.
Yes, I think you're probably going to become a recurring host here pretty soon. Who knows?
All right. Me and the cows will just keep hanging out.
Moo, moo, moo. Okay. First off, like I said, I want to welcome you back to the Caleb Knits podcast. If you're a new viewer here, thanks for checking me out, or checking us out. And if you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back. As always, and I forgot to mention this off the bat last week, while I always try to say things that are kind, I might not always say things that are appropriate. So this is a swearing-friendly podcast. I belch on camera, apparently. I also swear. So, and you do too sometimes, but
sometimes
you don't like to admit that. So anyway, places that you can find us on Instagram and Twitter. My handles are Caleb9513. Both of those accounts are private at the moment for reasons that I can't talk about right now, but I'm sure I can fill you in later. So if you would like to follow me there, go right ahead. And on Ravelry, my name is Caleb Jeffrey 13. I'm not as active on Ravelry, but I'm there.
All right, and on Twitter, you can find me at Bonnie Austin 18. And I've started on Instagram, and to be honest, I have no idea.
Austin Bonnie 1.
Austin Bonnie 1. That's where you can find me on Instagram.
That's right. Okay, Miss Bonnie, are you ready to rock and roll?
I am ready. Let's talk.
All right, so we're gonna start. Oh, one more thing before we start. We got a live studio audience who are currently being very good, and I'm not going to acknowledge them by name. Otherwise, they're gonna hop off the couch, but they have 4 legs. One's a brindle boxer, and the other one's a black beagle. Ivy and Lola. So they're being very good girls right now, but if you hear licking, walking, any other
snoring,
dog noises, that's them. They live here too. And yeah, they're being very good right now. So let's go ahead and get started with finish objects / what we're wearing.
Yes.
Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
I want to start. I would like you to check out my wrap. This is it's called Wrapped in a Hug. Yeah, I started it in February. I was so excited how quickly I was able to finish it. It's the biggest project I've ever done because I'm a fairly new knitter. Lots of stockinette stitch, but a garter, right? Garter stitch, edging, and garter stitch between the panels. There are 6 triangular panels separated by the garter stitch, and then the border is also a garter.
Mm-hmm. And I'll post a picture up here of the shawl in action, but this thing is absolutely massive. How many skeins of yarn did it take?
It took 6 skeins, and it's made out of Plymouth Yarns Arado in the rose color, and it's predominantly
purple.
Well, baby
alpaca.
Alpaca. I always want to say yak, and I know that's not right. Baby alpaca is the predominant fiber in it. Super, super soft, super easy to work with. Took me 6 skeins. The border itself took a whole skein, just because of the stitch count. I know that the last I had counted, there was like 850 stitches in a row here at the end. So it's a circle and a half when you lay it all out, and I love it.
That is quite the dedication. 850 stitches.
Yeah.
And that bind off, did you do it all in one sitting?
No,
I didn't think you would.
No. Except what would happen is I'd get watching TV kind of late at night, and I'd say, I really need to go to bed. Oh, but let me finish this round. An hour later, it'd be like, well, I might as well start another one. And yeah, that's kind of how it happened.
Yep. Very good. Well, I'm very excited. This is like your first big, well, like you said, your first big finished object. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you. There's little things around in there that I think, oh, missed a stitch there, but that's okay. That's what makes it unique. That's what makes it handmade.
And what are your plans for this garment? What are you like? Are you gonna?
I'm gonna wear it.
Duh, but like, what do you envision for this garment?
A couple of things. Number one, I envision like both spring and fall, just as I want something when I go outside, but I don't need anything major. So rather than grabbing just a ratty old sweatshirt, grab this. I think it'll look a whole lot prettier. And then I think during the winter it could definitely be as I dress to make presentations or things like that, a nice accessory piece that then can come off after you get warmed up and going.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Well, it looks beautiful.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'll talk about what I'm wearing. I've never worn this on the podcast before. This is the Comfort Fade Cardi by Andrea Mowry that I knit last year. This was the first sweater that I had knit for myself. Mm-hmm. It's knit out of hedgehog fibers in the pod colorway, and then the collar and cuffs were the copper penny color, I believe. It's knit out of their Merino DK, which is 100% merino. And it's not my favorite sweater. It's kind of my, I wear it around the house sweater. It has some fit issues regarding just kind of like, I mean, and this is part of the pattern too, but there's quite a bit of room in the armpits, which is part of the pattern. So there's that. Oh, there's the mailman. I wonder if he's gonna stop.
Wonder if he's bringing you more yarn.
Yeah, it could be.
Could be.
The collar also was a bit of an issue for me. I had a hard time wrapping my mind around it, and I couldn't get it to work. And I don't remember if I was trying to make it larger in the back or what, but because of that, this does not sit the way that it's supposed to. But anyway, it was a good first sweater. I wear it. I actually wear it to work too. So I say it's my around the house, but it's also just a nice, like, I just need something. And this is my thing that I do this all the time.
Kind of like a little security blanket.
Yes, yes. So, okay,
Very
so
good.
do you have any other finished objects?
I do not.
Okay, I have a couple more. First one I'll talk about, I don't have here because I sent it off in the mail. Yep, mailman just walked up. Did you hear that? What was I saying?
The sweater you just mailed.
Oh yeah, the sweater I just mailed was the Bosco sweater by Elizabeth Smith, and I knit that for my friend Megan, who lives in Emporia, and has been weathering this coronavirus quarantine by herself. So I wanted to knit her something to remind her that I'm thinking of her. But I knit this out of Knit Picks Special Reserve upcycled bulky yarn. It wasn't anything that they're carrying often. I did check their website and they do have more of it. And so if you're interested, it's a very lovely yarn. I ended up using 12 skeins of it, or 12 balls of it, which is a kilogram and 1.2 kilograms of yarn. So it was very heavy. It cost quite a bit to mail, but it was a very fun project and it was fast.
You can probably post a picture, can't you?
Oh yeah, I'm sure there has been a picture already. I will show the picture that I've shown previously is the unblocked, and then I'm going to show you the blocked. Now the blocked looks a little rough because I over blocked the sleeves and hung it on a hanger, and because it's a drop shoulder, it really made the arms look really long. but on a person, I don't think it looks that bad. But when I blocked it on my drying rack.
Yeah.
And the sleeves, I didn't let dangle for that long. I blocked it overnight, and that had the body pretty dry. And then the next day I put it outside on the drying rack, and for a couple hours I let the sleeves hang, but the sleeves were very, very heavy because most of the water that had dripped from the body dripped into the sleeves. So, and actually when I mailed it, it was just the slightest bit damp in the cuffs still.
Really?
Yeah. So
has she gotten it yet?
I haven't gotten a text or anything yet. It's supposed to get there today.
Okay.
So I also sent a book and your Kindle, actually. Megan and I are very much book people, as well as, I mean, we're both teachers, so we love books. And Megan was talking about how she can't go to the library. So I was like, do you have a Kindle?
I have a Kindle that I wasn't using, so send it to Megan.
So there we go. All right. Next finished object is something else for someone else. And last week it was a hoe. This week it's a faux. And what?
A hoe and a faux?
Oh, you've never heard those terms?
No.
A hoe is a half-finished object.
Oh.
So if I only have one,
okay,
it's a hoe. A faux is a finished object.
Didn't know.
So I have a pair of socks.
Yay, they're finished.
Yeah, they really did not take me that long. My thing is I have to find the momentum, and then once I get the momentum going, I get these things done. But this is just kind of my vanilla recipe for socks. It's based off of the Wise Hilda pattern on Ravelry, which is a 3x1 ribbed sock with a heel flap and gusset. These socks are knit out of Legacy Fiber Arts in the Whoville colorway, which was a Christmas colorway this year. And it came with a really pretty purple mini skein, but I decided to reserve that for my own personal use and just knit the socks out of the main color. These are for my friend Katie, who lives in Chicago. And I'll talk more about it in WIPs, but I have other socks that are heading off to Chicago here pretty soon as well. I also, and this kind of segues into my last finished object. So anyway, Whoville socks, finished object for my friend Katie. And I had quite a bit of yarn left over. I'm looking at the leftovers over there. I probably have about 30 grams left over of the yarn. So what I did with some of the leftovers on our Zoom knit night the other night, we were talking about parents and talking about my grandma and how mom was going to send her a care package because she lives in South Dakota and in an assisted living home. And has been in lockdown in her apartment, so she hasn't even been allowed to leave for over a month now.
Yeah.
Which is very hard for her. She's a person who has some memory loss, and
a little bit of dementia going on. So
when you take routine away and try to make a new routine, that can be difficult. So we wanted to let her know that we're thinking of her, and I need to stop petting the dog. And so I knit her do you see all the hair?
Yeah.
Now, sorry, distracted. So I knit her a Bluebird of Happiness, and I'll post a picture up here out of the leftovers. This is a free pattern on Ravelry that I whipped up in an hour or so. I held the fingering weight yarn double and knit it on 1.5 millimeter needles, because that's just what I had on hand, and it made a very dense bird. I did not stuff it because I didn't have stuffing, and I just kind of pressed it flat and put a loop through it so that she could hang it somewhere and then that accompanied a nice note that she received.
Yeah, she did. She loved it.
So, all right.
Very good.
That is all of our finished objects. I'm gonna stop this and see what the mailman brought.
All right,
If he
he
brought
knows.
anything, and we'll be right back. All right, and we're back. Turns out it was a bark box for the dogs. Ew, do you see how much she's drooling?
It's gross.
Ew. I gave them their treat from the bark box and an insurance statement from me, for me. So no yarn today.
So exciting.
Yes. Anyway, let's move on to works in progress or WIPs. I just finished talking about faux, so you start with WIPs, my dear.
All right. Well, I'm ready to do a second big project. Yeah, you know, and the thing is, I started knitting probably about 6 months ago and never really thought I would do things like this, like a large project. But we were talking at our knit night the other night. This was a few weeks ago, and Caleb said, "Hey, Amy and I are going to do a knit along. Why don't you do it with us?" And I'm like, maybe. What are you doing? Well, they're doing the City Limits sweater by Tanis.
Lavallee.
Okay, and convinced me to do it. Now, did I talk about virtual shopping last time?
Yes.
Okay, so I did virtual shopping with Yarn Social out of Kansas City and got my yarn, and when it came in, we showed you the yarn last time, that's right. So here's my work in progress. I went ahead and did a swatch. There's my 7 colors is what is in there. Now, I did my swatch without the mohair, just because I wanted to see what it was like. So I have started. I have probably about 5 inches done. So
and you left it at home.
I left it at home because I figured I'll show it off more later. But got a good start on it. I'm learning things as I go, and it's really been fun.
Now, this swatch is not the order that you're going to do it in, is it?
I have 2 colors turned around here. My color here, this dark purple, and this brownish speckle will actually be swapped when I have it done.
I think both of them look great, but on your body, I think a big, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like on anybody's body, a big, if you don't want color blocking, that big swatch of purple is probably not what you're going for.
Yep.
And now the pattern has it so that it's reversible.
Right. You actually knit it
inside out
on the stockinette side, but she has it modeled where she wears it on the purl side.
And what are you thinking for yours?
You know, I don't know. I really like the softness and the smoothness of a stockinette, but I also, I don't know. I might be able to wear it both ways. Who knows?
Yeah. Because the detail there's also details on the raglan and then on the sides, and those are prevalent on the purl side.
Right.
On the knit side, there'll be like indentations, which also would be really cool. But
this pattern also gives you the option of doing an I-cord bind off or a ribbing
for the neckline.
And I plan on doing an I-cord neckline, sleeves, and bottom.
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm watching her work on the sweater, and she just goes along.
I was telling Caleb today, I was so excited because right now I'm on a section of 25 rows. And
25 repeats.
Well, let me tell my story. So I read it as you have to do 25 rows and you have increases every other row. Well, so I'm almost done with my 25 rows and I'm so excited to start the next thing. And I went back and read my pattern and went, oh shoot, it's 25 increases. So I got another 25 rows to do before I can get on something new. But anyway, live and learn.
Yeah, you're learning. It's a big learning experience.
That's right.
I'm also knitting this sweater. My yarn has not shipped yet. I ordered, I think I showed a picture of a fade last week, which was the Hufflepuff fade from Goosey Fibers. I've since changed my mind and am going to knit it out of a different fade from Goosey Fibers, and I'll talk more about that when it gets here. So I'm excited.
I knew I needed a head start because both Amy and Caleb are probably faster knitters than I am.
Okay, but you're like halfway done with the raglan increases. So.
Well, but anyway.
Yeah.
We have time on our hands right now, so
we do.
It's okay.
We do. If you can hear Miss Lola click-clacking, you probably heard her drinking in the background. She ate her beef stick and decided to...
yeah. Now she needs a nail trim really bad, but hates it. But the groomer, of course, is a non-essential business, so they're closed. So we're just getting used to click-clack, aren't we, Lola? Yeah.
All right. Well, let me talk about some of my whips. I have several. First, let me talk about, we'll go smallest to largest. How's that?
Okay.
Okay. So, first I have a sock living in, of course, an Amy Beth bag. And this is probably my favorite one. It says, I'm a fucking ray of sunshine. And I got this at SSK. Love it. But living in here is another sock. This one is from my friend Kristen. And I'm gonna hold the bag in the DPN. I am a DPN knitter for socks. I used to be a Magic Loop knitter, but I go faster on DPN. So anyway, let me show you the front side. This is a sock, and I'm kind of doing a pattern, a slip stitch pattern that you can see. I'm not enjoying it because it slows me down. So I think what I'm gonna do is rip back to the ribbing and then just do stockinette. But, you see.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I just have to pay attention, and I don't want to pay attention. But this is knit out of probably my favorite indie dyer in the whole wide world. This is Cat Sandwich Fibers on her sparkle base. I don't know if you can see the sparkle or not, but there's Stellina in there. And this is, let me pull out the tag, in her, I think, Forest Wedding. Is that what this is called? Oh, this is riveting. Riveting television, riveting viewing. Well, what the hell? Oh, Peppermint Toads. Peppermint Toads. I knit a pair of socks for Jane out of
show the, yeah, in case they don't know what.
Oh yeah, Cat Sandwich Fibers. Probably my favorite indie dyer. I just love the way that she does color. MJ,
I'll put your tag back in.
Okay, all right, but I want to show the cake. MJ does color really well. This like greeny turquoise is one of her signature colors, but then I love how she puts vivid saturated speckles and micro stripes on there as well. So love that. This is from my friend Kristen. It's 68 stitches. The way I kind of do my socks for other people is I do 68 stitches top down with either 15 or 20 rounds of 2x2 ribbing. Then I do the leg. Depending on how I feel, lately I'm in a heel flap and gusset mood, mainly because I'm trying to improve my pickup and knit skills, which I'm getting better at. So I've been doing heel flaps and gussets. Then I knit the required length, and I do something what I call a 3-2-1 toe. I'm sure there's another name for it, but it's where I do a decrease round, knit 3 rounds, and I do that once. Then I do a decreased round, knit 2 rounds, do that twice, and then I do a decreased round, knit 1 round, and I do that 3 times. So you go 3-2-1, but then you also go 1-2-3 with your rounds. And then I decrease every round until I get to 12 or 14 stitches. And that produces a pretty round, I think that's what you call a rounded toe, but it creates a very round toe. So I think that's a rounded toe, but I call it a 3-2-1 toe. If you ever look at any of my project pages on Ravelry for socks, they're called 3-2-1 toes. So that is that. And again, that's for my friend Kristen, my BFF Kristen, who lives in Chicago. So yeah, I'm happy to get sock yarn out of the stash and let people know that I'm thinking of them.
That's right.
So, do you have another whip?
I do not, because
okay.
I don't. I would do. I'm tempted. I shouldn't even say this out loud. I'm tempted to start a pair of socks. Never done a pair of socks before. Shut up. But
don't say that. I just peed. That's so
stop
exciting.
Stop it. But last night, I didn't actually order them yet.
Oh, okay.
But last night I was looking for some double point needles because I don't have any yet. So I was looking for some, and as I was looking, I thought I could probably do a pair of socks.
Queen. We're gonna, okay, while you're here.
I think I maybe have some socks. Whoa, getting dizzy there, Lola.
You do?
I don't know, maybe. But yes, I'll take some yarn to start some socks once my needles get here.
Ugh, squeakiest chair in the world. All right. That's exciting.
I know.
Why didn't you tell me that?
You don't have to know everything.
All right. Well, next work in progress for me then, living in a Fringe Supply field bag, like this bag as well, is my Northeasterly blanket. I'm knitting this out of Knit Picks Felici. Which is a self-striping sock yarn out of the Lasso colorway. And made progress on this from last week. This, I don't know what my deal is, but I've just really been enjoying this project. It's nothing complicated and it's nothing too exciting, but I think it's good distraction knitting. Like when I'm just overwhelmed, I find comfort in this. So anyway, last time I was working on the second row of chevrons, and I have since finished that, made it all the way to the bottom, and I've started my third row of chevrons.
Now each row is one ball, correct?
Mm-hmm. So I've knit a pair of socks and working on the second one. Originally, what I was trying to do, oh look, it looks like a,
I did the diagonal.
Yeah, well that was my hope, but I'm looking more at the diamond of dark blue.
Oh.
Just what I'm noticing, but yeah, there's also a diagonal there too, and that's what I was going for when I first started this. So, I'm not doing a whole lot of planning with this, but what I am doing is I'm going in color sequence horizontally as well as vertically. So I started with light blue, and then the yarn is dyed so that it goes light blue, dark blue, yellow, orange, and then repeats. So what I'm doing across here is going light blue, dark blue, yellow, and see, I didn't have a whole lot of yellow to start with because I needed it to finish off down here. And what that's doing is that's giving me sort of a diagonal of color. Now, I don't know how close it's going to be. And they're not exact either. You know, you can tell that the chevrons aren't lining up exactly, but I think that looks really, really nice.
Yeah, add some character then too.
So there's that. I love this project. Every time I pull it out and look at it on a camera, it just looks, it's so graphic. You know what I mean? Like it just looks awesome. So yeah.
Very good.
The Northeasterly blanket, and that's by Skeinanigans. So yeah. All right, and then I have one more work in progress.
All right.
You don't have to worry about folding it up. Just shove it in the bag. And...
Okay. What else do you have going on?
Okay, so this is well, let me tell you a little bit about how my life has been going lately. I am a teacher, and in Kansas, our schools were closed down pretty quickly. Our governor is amazing, has provided amazing leadership in response to COVID-19, given the resources that she has. And so that was one of her first, even before she enacted a stay-at-home order.
Yeah, it was about mid-March when she said,
well, it was spring break. So it was
like the 14th, which is mid-March.
She closed our schools for the remainder of this school year, or until May 31st.
This academic year, yeah.
So we have transitioned to an online model, and actually I shouldn't even say that. We've transitioned to a packet model due to accessibility issues in our district with our population. So I've been doing a variety of online and phone calls to try to get all of my students. It's hard for me to reach some of my students. It's hard for me to communicate with some of my students. I am not bilingual, and most of my students are, and their parents aren't bilingual, but we don't speak the same language. So I always start each week really gung-ho. I send text messages because I can converse fairly well in Spanish in a written form. And I hear back from about 70%, which isn't bad.
Which is not bad.
Which is not bad. Or I get an acknowledgement. Some of my families, I only get like a thumbs up or whatever.
Right.
But by Friday, that gets really, I feel like I'm not doing my job. And it just is really hard for me. So, and being home, I'm doing a lot of knitting, right? And so I'm just finding not a lot of joy in a lot of things by the end of the week. And so yesterday, I was having a hard time, and I was like, I just need something to make me feel good, to make me use my brain, to help distract me. So I started the Radmere sweater, which there's a picture right here. Do you mind holding that? By Michelle Wong. Newspapers here. And this is a Brooklyn Tweed pattern, or it's by Michelle Wong for Brooklyn Tweed. And it is a very heavily cabled sweater pattern. So I purchased a sweater's quantity of Brooklyn Tweed Shelter in the Wood Smoke colorway. And last night I was over at Mom and Dad's and wound up 2 skeins into a ball, just because it's what my brain needed. I needed something slow, meditative, and so yeah. This is Brooklyn Tweed's worsted weight, and like I said, it's in the Wood Smoke colorway. So I went ahead and I started a sleeve for this pattern. So not a whole lot of progress right now, but I've worked the ribbing on the sleeve and the chart up to the increase rounds. Now, living life a little dangerously, I did not swatch for this, which is quite foolish considering the price point of this yarn. I should make sure that I have enough, but what I'm doing, my thought process in starting with the sleeve is using the sleeve as my swatch, which, well, you know, it is what it is. The sleeve is the thing that I'm not going to have to modify except for maybe length and maybe 1 or 2 increases up here. But I can obtain a gauge swatch before I even get there. So that's what I'm working on.
Here was something that happened last night that was really good for me as a fairly new knitter to hear. And I had gone into the family room to watch a television episode and came back about an hour later, and Caleb was still knitting away in the living room, and he said, "You're not going to believe this." And I said, "What?" He said, "I have tinked," right? And she said, "I have tinked the same 20 stitches like 6 times now, and I think I finally have it right." And you know, as a fairly new knitter, that made me feel really good, because even with his experience, sometimes you make mistakes and it's no big deal. You just take it back and you do it again and you take it back. Okay, so then even the better part was he said, "Oh, I finally got it right." And I said, "Well, what was different?" He said, "Well, I trusted my pattern and I followed my pattern." Ooh, I think he told me that just the other day. Just follow your pattern and trust your pattern. And he did, and it's coming out right now. Just had to share.
Thanks. I will say that was 2 separate occurrences. The having to follow my pattern was at the beginning when I was setting it up. Because there's 68 stitches, and based on the pattern, you like start in different places in the chart. And I thought, well, I was looking at the stitch counts on the chart, and I was like, that doesn't equal 68. So then I was trying like, okay, so I have 6 extra stitches. They must be just assuming well, because some patterns do this. Some patterns will just assume that the knitter knows how to troubleshoot and is thoughtful enough in their process. So I was like, okay, so I just must split 6 down the middle, put 3 on this side, 3 on this side, and we're fine. Well, then I got to a part where it took care of those 6 stitches, and it was like, well, fuck, I should have just
followed the pattern.
So then I had to tink it all the way back, which is not hard. It's just not what I wanted to spend my time doing. So this is representative of about 3.5 hours worth of work, which, whatever. We watched The Grocery Girls and Amy Beth in that time, and that included winding my skeins. So,
yeah.
But one thing I wanted to talk about was, yeah, I'll hold the knitting. In this pattern, Brooklyn Tweed patterns are notorious for being very well laid out, very well thought out, and being really concise and just, this is what you need to do. Why didn't I follow the pattern? I don't know. But one thing that happened is you repeat charts on things like sleeves and the center back and the front. So one of the charts that I needed was not, for the sleeves, was not on the sleeve page. So since this is a paid for pattern, I'm not gonna show you it for very long, but I'm just gonna hold this up, okay? What I ended up doing was making a copy of the charts that I needed, cutting it up and putting it all onto one page. So now I just have this extra page that I've called sleeve charts. And that way they're all where I need them to be. Then what I'm ready to do now is start the increases for my sleeve shaping. And it's one of those deals where it's increase every 4th row and at the same time do this and at the same time do that, which is fine. It's labeled an advanced pattern. Sorry, my second mailman is here. I don't know how they disseminate who delivers what, but I am very distracted and I am seeing my second mailman. Anyway, and now I've lost my train of thought.
Well, you were getting ready to do your increases and lots of things happening all at the same time, and it's an advanced pattern.
Thank you. So what I needed to do was do some road mapping for myself. So I'm going to show you the best I can without giving away any of the pattern. What I've done is marked every
4th row.
4th row. And where did I put it? Oh, I put it on this page. And said, okay, so I'm increasing on rows blank, 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 blank. And then I went and translated that into the chart. So for the rest of the sleeve, I don't need my big pattern. I just need my one sleeve chart pattern, which is which is going to be very helpful.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. One of the things I've done just one cable project, and Caleb kept saying, just read your chart, stitch it off your chart. And I needed the words. I needed to do it with the words yet. So maybe my next one, maybe my next cable project, I'll take the step into trying to do it by reading the chart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and this pattern doesn't give you the option. Because if they did, I mean, it's an all-over cable sweater. It would be 40 pages long.
Yeah.
It would not be a very economically printed pattern.
Right.
One thing about this sweater, when it comes to the body, I will need to make accommodations, but it's a bottom up set in sleeve, so that will not be difficult. I need to add about 7 inches from the largest size. So what I will do is when I have a swatch, and I might just make a quick one too, I don't know. When I get to the body, I will just add stitches on either side and just make them selvage stitches. Or what I could do, and actually now that I'm thinking about this, what I will probably do is just knit panels to be put in under here. I don't think this pattern has them, but some patterns incorporate them. Yeah, this pattern doesn't have them according to the schematic. But if I put in panels, then that way also, if my body ever changes, I can just take those panels out at some point and give the sweater some tailoring.
Kind of on an aside to that, I was watching television early this morning, and on CBS this morning, they did a story about the Brooklyn Tweed.
Oh, really?
People, yeah. And I didn't catch it all, but I caught that because they were talking about sending yarn out to knitters, and that was the Brooklyn Tweed Company. So I'm gonna have to go back on the World Wide Web and find it. But it was CBS this morning that had it.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I will have to watch that. It's pretty cool. So
see, it pays to get up in the morning, you know.
Whatever. I don't have cable.
I'm just giving you a hard time. Dang, chill.
So, anyway, that is my Radmere cardigan. I'm very excited to get it started. I don't know if this will be it probably will be something that I'm like, get it done. Still on the needles is my Winterfjell sweater.
We're not going to look at it again until it's done.
Nope, haven't touched it since the last time you saw it. So, thought I would have some motivation this week to get it done because I wanted to wear it for something, but that's not going to happen.
But we've been busy with other projects.
Yeah, we have, but we'll talk about that when we get to blather.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So, any other whips for you?
Nope, that's it.
All right, let's talk future knitting real quick. Do you have any yarn that you want to show off?
I did not bring any with me because I'm going to find some sock yarn and start a pair of socks.
That makes me so excited. Well, I have been a big fan of Stephen West for a long time.
Oh yeah, this would be cool.
And I've knit Exploration Station, Dotted Rays. I've knitted Excuse Me. I mean, I've knit quite a few of his patterns. I even have ones that I'm just sitting here thinking, oh yeah, I knit that one and that one and that one. And a lot of his patterns I've knit twice. I am just a big fan of his patterns. And recently he has published a pattern called Painting Bricks or Painted Bricks. I'll put a picture here. And again, with the graphic color, I was like, holy shit, this is something I need. So I got online, and his store, Stephen and Penelope, was selling kits out of his yarn, Westwool. And I was like, perfect. It's a Dutch yarn. We're very Dutch, in case you didn't know. It's a Dutch yarn. It's one of my favorite one of my favorite designers, and it's a great pattern. Let's see what they have. Well, the kit that I wanted, they were sold out of. But they had one that I looked at and went, wow, that's gonna be cool. So, from Stephen and Penelope, all the way from Amsterdam, I got my kit for the Painting Bricks shawl. I'll let you hold those. Then, so these two colors are the border colors, like you'll see. But then for my contrasting colors, let me get these in the right order. I went with a monochromatic theme. So my painted brick shawl is going to be, these is the bricks and this is the mortar. So I'm very excited.
It's gonna be very cool.
It's gonna be graphic. That's kind of my word for the day. I wanted to talk about this yarn though. This is in the fingering weight, which is called Bicycle. And it is a Falkland Merino and Texel blend, which Texel I believe is a synthetic, no. Is Texel, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that Texel is a fiber that is derived from plants. If not, it is a synthetic fiber, but I'm not sure. But the squish on this yarn,
it's amazing,
is amazing. Falkland Merino is specific to the Falkland Islands, so it's a British wool. But aren't the Falkland Islands in the, like...
I don't know, I studied math, I didn't study geography.
Yeah, but we just watched The Iron Lady. Anyway, so anyway, love that yarn, very excited to start it. I don't know when I will start it. I'm not in a big shawl mood right now, but I thought that would be maybe a good SSK project if SSK ends up happening. You know, we're still kind of on the fence about what's going on in the world. So keeping safety as our top.
That's right. Gotta stay healthy.
Yeah. All right. So that was one of my acquisitions. He also published his Star Flanket pattern.
You need to show that too.
And I want to knit it out of his yarn.
It's very cool.
It is an investment in wool. So that's gonna have to wait until some things get off my needles to justify a purchase of that magnitude.
Maybe off your needles and out of your stash.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I mean.
Oh, okay.
Like,
so some of it needs to get on your needles and again off.
Well, I'm thinking like finish that sweater, finish the city limits, and maybe finish the socks that I have for other people.
That would do.
Going.
That would do. You see how often he rolls his eyes at me?
Oh, I'm an adult.
Teach this boy some manners.
I'm an adult. Why are you saying that'll do? I can choose to spend my money however I like.
Oh, you know, my dad always said, little kids, Bonnie, little kids, little problems. Big kids, big worries. Oh.
Whatever. So anyway, that is all the knitting that I have.
Yep.
Do you have future knitting? I think I've already asked you that.
Yep.
Just socks. Yep. So let's move on to what we're watching and reading. I'll let you talk.
Watching, I have finished up several series. So actually I'm still looking for one that I just really love and to grab a hold of. We've done some documentaries on the Windsor family. We watched Iron Lady the other night. So yeah, I'm just kind of going through. Now when I go to Netflix, I get suggestions on British television. So that must be where I'm at right now. But nothing super exciting, taking my time there.
That's very your demographic. British dramas. Have you watched Downton Abbey?
I have not.
That's, yeah.
Is that on Netflix? I didn't see it.
It might not be, but it's on Amazon Prime.
Okay, I have that too.
Yeah. So,
okay.
It's also on PBS if you want to watch it, but I'd have to give you my PBS login.
Got it.
What I've been watching and reading, again, following my narrative from last week, it is hard for me to focus on anything. My sister-in-law was here for a couple days this past week, and we started watching Glee again, so I might continue with that. it's just like a feel good. It came out when I was in high school. And I'm not, right now I'm the age that the actors were, but their characters were my age at that time.
Yeah.
So, it's a kind of a feel good, but also you watch it and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe they were allowed to say things like that on TV.
But it wasn't a network television show. It was
FX.
FX, yeah.
Which is, that's a network.
All right.
But it wasn't like ABC or NBC or CBS.
Right.
It was Ryan Murphy. Like, Ryan Murphy is just an interesting person. But, yeah, so I might rewatch that. But what I have been doing is a lot of reading still. My friend Paige is an avid reader as well, and my friend Sarah works at a library. She's a librarian. And we have this informal book club that we kind of keep going. It's not anything where we read a book in a time frame and then discuss it. It's more, we all kind of decide we're going to read the same book and we'll text each other about it every so often. But Paige and I right now have decided to read Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. And it's pretty good. I think the motivation behind it is that there's now an HBO television show being produced about it, or based on it. So Paige wanted to read it, and I wanted to read it too. It's a very celebrated book from the last 5 years or so. Actually, even though I think maybe the last 3 years I think it was published in 2017. But I started that last night and I'm about 30% through. I've been doing a lot of reading on my Kindle lately, just because I'm trying to convert my library over to digital, and finding homes for books, just for space reasons and other reasons that I can't disclose right now. So we are reading that and I'm really liking it. Next on my docket, though, with my friend Megan, she has quite a few books that she checked out from the library before everything was shut down. And one of the books that she checked out was Educated, and I'm not sure who Educated is by, but it's a memoir. Lots of you, I'm sure, have heard about it. And so that's going to be next on my list to read. So, do you have any reading aspirations right now?
No, I don't.
You like audiobooks.
I like audiobooks, right.
Which is reading.
Right. But it's so easy for me to just turn on the television. So,
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Well, I think that brings us to word vomit. What do we have to talk about?
Let's talk about our project.
Okay. So, because of COVID-19, we've been home, and being home, you kind of look around and go, wow, there are some things that I can do here. So Bonnie, what have we been doing?
Well, when Caleb moved into his house, we did a lot of work painting the main living areas, but we didn't touch the bathroom. And it was time. So we decided that we were going to tackle some home improvements in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm. So that started with taking the vanity and the mirror out. And I wish I had pictures, but I don't have pictures where I'm not butt-ass naked in front of the mirror. So,
and he won't be sharing those.
No. And so anyway, we took the vanity and the medicine cabinet out, and then we painted.
And painted the walls gray. Then we were getting ready to lay some flooring and thought we would just lay it on top of the vinyl. But you know, you just really can't do that. So
I was fine with that, but she had to be a hero.
Yeah, so we scraped glued vinyl.
She scraped glued vinyl
off. So got that done, got a new floor laid.
Did you see that?
That's kind of a cool car.
A man just drove by in like a, what do you call that? Like a
roadster?
A roadster. I was going to say a rat racer.
Yeah, no, a roadster, I think.
Anyway,
took the shower doors out, put a new shower curtain bar in, painted. We're still working on painting woodwork, getting all that trim done, but we're getting close to being finished.
Mm-hmm. And what is the one thing I hate in this world?
Oh, there's lots of things Caleb hates in this world, but he hates to paint. Yeah.
I hate painting.
So there's been a lot of time when Mom's been working in the bathroom and Caleb's been entertaining. And, you know, I can say, Caleb, get me this, get me that. So it works.
It's also a one-ass room.
It is. It's a tiny little room. You really can't be in there with more than one person. So
yeah, especially with like the new pantry and stuff in there. One of the things this house lacks is storage. So I essentially bought a kitchen pantry to put in my bathroom, and that thing is big, but it can hold a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it'll be worth it. You'll love it once you get used to using it.
Yeah, once it's all finished, I'll put some pictures up. Currently, I don't have a mirror, so I don't know what I look like. So yeah, I've been very grateful for my mother. She's been very helpful and very kind to help and be here with me. So, which kind of brings us to a COVID update. Things are getting rather serious here in Ford County and Dodge City.
We are on the steep curve up right now.
You know, it took us a little bit longer to get going because we're in a very rural area of the country. But now that we have started to go every day, it's exponential.
Yeah.
So we are being extra cautious. I have not been in a public building. I don't remember the last time I was.
It's probably been at least 3 weeks.
It would have been when I got groceries when it all first started.
Yeah.
And that was when school wasn't even canceled yet.
Yeah.
That was spring break.
Yeah.
So, so I haven't been in a public building. Any travel that we do really is between my house and their house and vice versa.
I do. Caleb has some, but been doing Project Dinner. We talked a little bit about that last time, and I'll share some good news on that too here in a little bit.
Yeah. So we're doing the best we can to stay safe, but Project Dinner, I'm going to hand this over to Miss Bonnie because she has some fantastic news to share.
Yeah. We started Project Dinner, gosh, we've been at it probably about a month now. And it came from an idea that, you know, our kids are being fed lunches and breakfasts through the school nutrition program, but nobody's getting dinner and nobody's getting anything on the weekends. And we have so many people that have been laid off or lost their jobs because of this quarantine and the stay-at-home order for non-essential businesses. And I just worry about kids, and I worry about adults who have to make those decisions. What do I do? Do I buy my medicine or do I buy food, or, you know, things like that. So we started a project called Project Dinner, where we work with one of our local restaurants, who of course is also struggling, but is a really good friend of ours. And he works with his distributors to get food at a reduced rate. And we're able to, with local sponsors, pay him a small amount per meal and then distribute those in a drive-through setting at a couple locations in town. We've been doing that twice a week. And we're right now running 200 meals 2 nights a week that we're handing out to people as anybody who needs. And gosh, we can hand out 150 meals in
10 minutes.
Well, at least I was going to say 20, but goes super fast. And it's just, when you see the amount of need out there, it's just amazing. And I've been in charge of the funds. That's been my job, is to make sure that as money comes in, it gets deposited and it gets paid to the restaurant, and we keep things going. And donations have always stayed about a week ahead. You know, people will ask, how are we on money? And I'll say, we're good for Wednesday and Saturday. After that, the money's gone. So you need to go out there and get some more sponsors. And so different people have been pounding the pavement, asking, and our business, our local businesses and individuals. I mean, it's just amazing when I go to the mailbox and there's a $50 check from somebody and a $75 check from somebody and a $250 check from a business. And it's just amazing the compassion that people have. And, you know, but it's always okay. I can't see to the end of the month, but I can see one more week. Well, I don't have to worry about that anymore. Yesterday, I got a phone call from someone who works at Cargill, which is one of our meat packing plants. And she also is part of our church, so she knows what's going on with Project Dinner.
And our neighbor.
Yeah, she's my neighbor as well. But got a call from her, and she said, Bonnie, I just want to give you the heads up. You might be getting a call from Cargill Corporate. And I'm like, really? She said, yes, they want to support projects that are helping people during this time that we're struggling with COVID-19. And I put Project Dinner in as a project that I would like to see funded. So if they call, I just wanted to give you the heads up. Fabulous, Roberta. It's so exciting. Thank you. Yeah, 30 minutes later, she called me again. And she goes, Bonnie, I can't hardly even talk. And I'm like, what? She goes, I am so excited. I can't hardly even talk. Are you sitting down? And I'm like, yeah, I'm sitting down. And she said, it's been approved, and we are sending you X amount of money. And I'm not even going to tell you how much because it's a lot.
Substantial.
It's a lot. And I haven't shared it with all of the people involved with Project Dinner yet. But the only strings attached were Feed the Hungry in Dodge City. And I am so excited to be able to do that. And so thrilled that one of our corporations is willing to say, hey, I know things are tough, and I know we're a big part of Dodge City, and we want to help. And so I'm super excited. We're going to do 200 meals tonight. And then on Tuesday of next week, I'm getting a group of people together, less than 10. I'm going to follow the governor's orders, and we're all going to sit 6 feet apart. But we're going to get about 10 of us together, and we're going to brainstorm and dream big as to what we can do to truly make an impact in Dodge City. So we're excited about that.
Yes, that is exciting. And Bonnie is being very modest in her involvement. You know, she kind of came up with all of this, and this is one of the things that she thinks about often and worries about. And so it's very, it's amazing that the contribution that was donated.
Well, and it's so exciting to see so many different entities come together. You know, I just being part of a church, and for those of you who are part of different organizations like that, so often you seem to be rivals rather than cooperating members. And there are probably 5 or 6 different churches in town that have all become part of this, and nobody, it's not about any one of us. And that's what's been really cool to me is, you know, when we give out our meals, it has a little note on there that says, you know, God bless, tonight your meals are sponsored by, and whoever's been some of our donors, we put their names on there. We don't want to take the credit for anything. Because it's not about us, it's about these people being taken care of and these people being blessed. And in my mind, it's about serving as Jesus would serve. And we're just really excited that we can be used in that manner, and very thankful that we're being funded in order to do it.
Mm-hmm. And I know that I've had inquiries about how you all can donate. There is what's called a PushPay account, and I am happy to get that information to you if you are interested in donating and being a sustaining member.
Yeah.
Is that what they say on public radio?
I don't know.
It is.
It is.
You don't
okay.
listen to public
I
radio.
don't listen to public radio. Sorry.
So yeah, that was some really good news. Yeah. It's an astronomical amount of money, like money that solves problems for people. So yeah, that's exciting.
It is.
But I don't have, well, I do have some things going on right now, but as I've alluded to, I can't talk to them or talk about them. Next time I should be able to. If you really want to know, send me a message, I guess, and I can fill you in. But
and it's good. It's good, exciting.
It's very good, exciting news. Yeah. Scary news, but also good, exciting news. So anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for spending about an hour with us today, listening to us blather about yarn and our lives. I need to get this edited and up. Do you have any tutoring today?
Not today.
It's Saturday. I don't even know what fucking day it is. Yeah. So you don't have tutoring today.
No tutoring today.
You gonna stick around and paint?
No.
Damn. Okay. All right, Mom. Well, thanks for joining me.
You bet. Thanks for having me. And guys, thanks for just being part of the wonderful group of people that are knitters and fiber artists and just all around great people.
Mm-hmm. Do you think knitters are some of the best people in the world?
Most of the knitters I know are amazing people. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So, all right, y'all. I hope you have a wonderful 2 weeks, and we will see you next time.
All right. Bye.
Bye.